difficulties at this moment.
I'm going to shut off the. Oh, I try again. Can open and. Oh, there it is. It is now working. Sorry, go.
Okay. Sorry for that. We were having audio difficulties. So item number 2 is approval of the agenda, moved by Councillor Owen, seconded by Councillor Ranger. That's Councillor Rick Owen.
Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council held on Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025, be approved as amended to remove from the agenda item 6.1, 2025 water main relining project contract award at the request of the chief administrative officer. Remove from the agenda the corresponding bylaw being items 8.4 bylaw 2550. Renumber item 15.1 being the bylaw confirming proceedings to be read as bylaw number 2550. And finally, that section 15 of procedural bylaw number 1575 as amended be suspended to allow for a recess to hold a public meeting prior to the commencement of regular business noted in section 4 petitions and relegations.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 3, declaration of pecuniary interest. Councillor Shabba.
Yes, I do. I want through you, Madam Chair. I sent one to the CEO and the clerk will have one copy as well. I, like Shabba, am declaring indirect pecuniary interest on the agenda of the meeting dated Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025 at 4:40 p.m. An open meeting. The agenda item is 8.2 bylaw hashtag 25-048. Agenda title is 25048, executing agreement for installation of concrete pad 619-25 RFT. Is an indirect. I'm Cheryl, the director, Office of the Private Corporation affected and have the building interest in public corporation. Of my interest is as follows. We Shabba Testing Services, SDS, doing a lot of work for a lot of quality control QC work for Peterson Construction, and it's very likely that that's said to be involved in the QC of this concrete pad. I have my name reading on this, and I sign it, and there's a copy.
Thank you. Anything further for members of council? Okay, no more noted. At this time, we're going to take a brief recess to go into the open public meeting. Welcome to the public meeting of proposed changes to the notice bylaw. Good afternoon. I hereby call this public meeting on Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025, regarding the proposed changes to the notice bylaw to order. Item number 2, declaration of pecuniary interest. Any from members of council? None noted this evening. Item number 3, summary reports. Item 3.1, proposed changes to notice bylaw, and this will be presented by Madam Clerk, Jennifer Montroy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, staff conducted a review of the town's existing notice policy based on comments from members of council and staff. Staff presented amendments to the policy to fall in line with the comments of council and in line with the publishing of council agendas. A notice policy sets out how formal notice will be given for those things that are required in law and for the other things that are of interest to the general public. A notice policy also sets out what formats the town will submit notice, so online, Facebook, via email, the website, publishing the newspaper, etc. How early in advance a notice needs to be given, so 7 or 14 days in advance of the thing happening, and or for how long it needs to have taken place. So in law, that usually means a regulation that says the town had to give X amount of days notice before the thing happens. Public notice is often mistaken with notice referenced in council's procedural bylaw for the publishing of its business materials and agendas. Although these are two different things, they amount to the same thing, a document that keeps the town accountable on how and when and where the public can get different information from the town consistently. Public notice is also often mistaken as a public meeting. A public meeting is typically the calling of a meeting that is required under law. However, where the council feels that the issues are compelling interest, it may call for a public meeting for other matters. The town's notice policy gives the direction to administration on the what, when, where, and how this meeting will be held when the act is silent in those circumstances. As we all know, everyone receives information differently, and being inclusive comes with an additional cost. For the better part of 5 years, the town's website has been the main place for publishing official public notices. The proposed amendment policy in front of council and subject to this public meeting is to assist council in determining whether 5 days' notice is reasonable enough time to reach individuals who might be most likely affected by a matter of interest. The town conducted a public survey in the beginning in the late fall of last year. From those who participated, they noted receiving their information from various mediums. However, all but one did not note the town's website. When asked what other methods of communication the town could supply information to them, no suggestions were supplied. There was also no mention in the comments on the existing form, manner, or timing of notice. Through a series of misunderstandings, it appears that the perception is that the town's current notice policy is having an impact on the timing or is the instrument delaying the bringing of reports to council. But where a report or information is delayed in some manner, the rationale usually falls on an operational issue, a legal matter, a legislative process, third-party involvement, or competing priorities, not the perceived restrictiveness of the town's notice policy. In fact, the town has been successful in its consistent application since it's been put in place in 2022. Administration is proud to note that for the most part, the public is receiving formal notification sooner, more consistently, and with much more advanced notice than has seen previously. This last statement excludes any notifications on emerging or urgent closures or service level changes, which are not covered by the town's notice policy. Although not identified as the recommendation stemming from the original report, administration suggests the calling of a committee of the whole meeting that may enable a general conversation between members of council and staff to remove any concerns surrounding the existing policy and provide for a larger discussion on the delays attributed due to operational and legal procedure. That is my statement.
Thank you for that overview, Ms. Montoy. Item number four, confirmation of notice. Madam Clerk, how was notice given?
Notice of the public meeting was given in accordance with the town of Kirkland Lakes notice bylaw 2247 by publishing the said notice on the town's website more than 14 days in advance, and as of July 9th, 2025. Supplemental notice was published again on July 17th in the Northern News, being a local print newspaper, through the town's various social media streams and within the local radio broadcasts.
Thank you. Item number 5, correspondence received. Madam Clerk, has there been any correspondence received prior to this meeting?
Madam Chair, confirmed that the correspondence was received by the office of.
Thank you. Item number 6, comments, questions from members of the public. Before I ask my next question, I would like to remind all members of the council that during a public meeting, there is no discussion or debate directly with members of the public. Madam Clerk, has anyone registered to provide comments or pose questions electronically?
Madam Chair, confirmed no one has asked the clerk's office to register to request to participate electronically in this public meeting.
Okay, so now I will invite members of the public to come up to the podium. As always, please state your name and address for Madam Clerk. Is there any members of the public wanting to present comments or questions? There appears to be none. Thank you everyone for your patience. Item number 7, consideration of proposed bylaws. So procedurally, Madam Clerk has supplied us with 2 options that may be in council's interest, given the discussions at last meeting surrounding this issue. The clerk is seeking for consensual direction, of course, not a formal vote, from members on the matter. Therefore, please do speak up as your preference to the 2 items in accordance with the recommendation in the report. Which is to proceed with the notice bylaw as amended. For purposes of guiding this discussion moving forward, I'll have the clerk read both options for direction, Madam Clerk.
Certainly, either the council received the comments, questions from members of the public and found that the proposed amendments to the notice policy bylaw be presented for 3 readings on July 22nd, or that council received the comments, questions from members of the public and finding that the proposed notice policy as presented be removed from the regular business of July 22nd, 2025 and be referred to the committee of the whole on Tuesday, August 26, 2025 at 4:40 p.m.
Thank you. Who would like to speak first on the options of their preference? Because we need a direction going forward. Councillor Shabba?
Yeah, Thank you, through you, Madam Chair, well, in the absence of, any public comments, so I don't see the need to go to the second option. I think that the first option is, move things along, so. What we see today is what we're gonna see. We have a second option, I don't think we're gonna see anyone come on. And we've never had a committee of the whole meeting since we started, so. So summertime is very precious for all of us, so I think that I'm in favor of, the first option. Thank you.
Thank you for that opinion. Next, Counselor Kylie.
I concur with Councillor Chavez' comments. I would go with the first one.
Okay. Another member of council, please speak to this matter. Another member of council, please speak to this matter. Counselor Owens.
Any opportunity, in my opinion, that we have to have, that we can have a discussion, I think helps us understand the process and move the business of the municipality in a more transparent way. I agree, summer is precious in the whole thing, but it doesn't last very long, so I'm not opposed to a committee of the whole.
Thank you. Next member. Counselor Ranger.
Thank you, through Your Honor. I'm in favor of the committee of the whole having a meeting on Tuesday, August 26th at 4:40 to discuss more of the details.
Thank you. Next member of council, Counselor Owen.
Through your worship, I have no problem with having a meeting to further discuss the issue. I think the more discussion, the more input, the better council we are, so I would be in favor of holding the committee of the whole meeting to discuss it.
Thank you. Anything further from members of council? Counselor Beckins.
To you, Madam Mayor, yeah, I feel like if we don't, we're just kind of pushing it through without a more fulsome discussion. I think it's important to look at it.
Thank you. Thank you all members. Based on the discussion around the table this evening, Madam Clerk, may you please read the direction moving forward?
Council received the comments, questions from members of the public and find that the proposed notice policy as presented be removed from the regular agenda business of July 22nd, 25 and be referred to the committee of the whole on Tuesday, August 26th, 25 at 4:40 p.m.
Thank you. That's the direction moving forward. Adjournment. This concludes the public meeting with the proposed amendments to the notice bylaw. Thank you, everyone. We shall now rise from our recess to continue with the regular council meeting. Item number 4, petitions and delegations. There are none this evening. Item number 5, acceptance of minutes and recommendations. 5.1, council minutes moved by Counselor Ranger, seconded by Counselor Casey Owens.
Be it resolved, the council approve the minutes of the following meetings, minutes of the public meeting held July 8th, 2025, and minutes of the regular meeting of council held July 8th, 2025.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 5.2, local and regional board minutes moved by Counselor Kylie and seconded by Counselor Shaba.
Be it resolved, the council received the minutes of the following meeting, minutes of the Kirkland Lake Public Library Board held April 18th, 2025.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 6, reports of municipal officers and communications as per amendment 6.1 has been removed. Moving on to the new 6.1. Okay, 6.2, Connecting Link 2025-2026 program funding announcement. This will be delivered by Stefan Forte, Director of Public Works, moved by Counselor Casey Owens, seconded by Counselor Janice Ranger.
Be it resolved that report number 2025 Public Works 12 entitled Connecting Links 2025-2026 program funding announcement be received. That council approves the municipal portion, 10% of this 2025 stage one projected cost of the issuance of a request for proposal for engineering services in relation to the said project. And that the municipal portion of the project to a maximum of $8,475 be drawn from the Public Works Department's portion of the 2025 town budget, which is the operating part. And that council approves the municipal portion, 10% of the 2026 stage two project costs totaling $123,058 to be drawn from the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund, it's OSIP. And that the mayor and municipal clerk be authorized to execute a contribution agreement and any related amendments proposed in favor of the municipality without detrimental impact with the Ontario Ministry of Transportation or designate for funding under the Connecting Links program towards the reconstruction of the intersection of Duncan Avenue South and Highway 66. And that section 22I of the Town of Kirkland Lakes Notice Bylaw 2022-47 be dispensed with in order to have the execution bylaw presented for 3 readings at the same meeting. It is initially presented in the essence of time and to allow for the publishing of an RFP for engineering services in relation to the matter. And finally, that an execution bylaw be brought forward for consideration for 3 readings on July 22, 2025. And for the matter of lifting of the notice, it'll have to be a 2/3 majority recorded vote.
Sorry. Do you require that prior to the report being given or after?
After.
Okay,
When you call
thank
for the vote.
Okay. Sorry, you may proceed, Director.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, and council members. As council is aware, the town submitted an application to the Ministry of Transportation's Connecting Link program in November 2024. I'm happy to report that our application has been approved. And the town of Kirkland Lake has been awarded funding for the full reconstruction of the intersection at Highway 66 and Duncan Avenue South. This project will address longstanding infrastructure issues, including storm sewer failure, deteriorating pavement, and outdated pedestrian infrastructure. The scope includes full depth road reconstruction, storm sewer replacement, traffic lights, curbs and sidewalks, accessibility enhancements, all of which are aligned with our asset management plan and our commitment to safe, inclusive, and sustainable infrastructure. The ministry will fund up to 90% of the eligible costs, significantly reducing the financial burden on the municipality. The town's share is just over $118,000, will be drawn from existing budget allocations and the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund. Tonight, I'm seeking council's approval to commit the municipal share of the project costs, to proceed with the issuance of an RFP for engineering services, and to authorize the mayor and municipal clerk to execute the funding agreement with the Ministry of Transportation. This is a strategic investment in one of our most critical intersections, and I strongly recommend that council support the recommendations outlined in the report. Thank you.
Any questions or comments from members of council? Councillor Owen.
To you, your worship, and if I'm not on topic, please shut me down. When we have this intersection dug up, we're gonna do the storm sewers. Would it make sense to do the water and sewer system that goes through at the same time as, instead of putting it all back together and then when it fails, digging it back up and doing it again? It's just, I don't know if it may not make sense.
Thank you for that.
To Madam Mayor, Councillor Owen. It would absolutely make sense. Unfortunately, the funding structure doesn't include any water upgrades or any sanitary upgrades. It only pertains to traffic signals and the storm sewer systems, the road. The goal with the missing infrastructure, I guess the water infrastructure and the sanitary infrastructure that wasn't done, we're hoping to do those with time through water relining projects.
Anything further? Councillor Dykens?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I just follow on that? Just for clarity, you're asking, well, we have it all open, can we take money from somewhere else to do it? Like, cause it's not part of the funding, just for clarity, just.
Yep, so point of clarification is on the floor. Counselor Owens may.
Yeah,
answer to
well, no, I was looking at it as an add-on,
Yeah,
okay? I don't know, like, maybe we could investigate the cost of doing it. To see if we could include it in next year's budget. That's, I wasn't suggesting that it'd be under this funding arrangement. I understand that, it doesn't qualify. It just that we've had a long-standing policy or informal policy that we only do surface when we do the infrastructure underneath, so I just thought this might be an opportunity to add it into next year's capital budget or whatever.
I don't know if there's any follow, yeah, I think you already answered it because of the relining, but. Counselor Ranger?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, maybe I'll ask the question that'll fill in the blank. Is there sewer infrastructure in that intersection?
Sanitary sewer, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Kylie?
Your worship. If you were just ballparking the cost of doing the water sewers in that area. What would you think it would, a minimum?
I'd rather not comment on that, sorry, I don't feel comfortable providing a number just off the top of my head.
Are we talking a million or more?
Yes.
Okay.
That answers that.
So just on a matter of process, I guess, there's nothing stopping members of council from putting a notice of motion at any time, directing investigations of anything, just putting it out there. Okay, anything further from members of council? Okay, nothing further, all in favor? Oh, sorry, yes, we have to do a recorded vote because it's an amendment, procedure amendment. So, yeah, so Madam Clerk's gonna do it. Sorry. That was so eloquent. So eloquent.
No problem. Counselor Dolly Dennis,
yes.
Counselor Patrick Kylie,
Yes.
Counselor Rick Owen,
Yes,
Counselor Casey Owens,
Yes.
Counselor Janice Ranger,
Yes.
Counselor Lat Shattuck,
Yes.
Mayor Stacy White.
Yeah,
The motion is carried.
thank you. Okay, moving on. Item 6.3. Safety enhancement intersection, Second Avenue and Allen Avenue. It will also be presented by Director of Public Works, moved by Counselor Ranger, seconded by Counselor Kylie.
Be it resolved that report number 25 PW 13 entitled Safety Enhancements Intersection of Second Avenue and Allen Avenue be received for information.
Thank you. You may proceed, Director.
All right, Madam Mayor, Council. This report responds to Council's March 18th resolution directing administration to assess the feasibility of converting the intersection of Allen Avenue and Second Street into a four-way stop due to visibility concerns, increased traffic, and proximity to a school and community complex. In collaboration with the Timiskaming District Road Safety Committee, a site assessment was conducted. While only 2 collisions have been officially recorded at this intersection since 2020, the broader Allen Avenue corridor has seen 27 collisions and 33 traffic complaints. This suggests a pattern of safety concern that extends beyond a single intersection. The committee recommended speed control as a top priority, specifically the installation of speed humps on both sides of the intersection. They also support the implementation of a four-way stop, despite it not meeting formal warrant thresholds due to restricted sightlines and the presence of vulnerable road users. However, after reviewing the full corridor, administration believes a broader approach is warranted. We recommend a formal engineering study of Allen Avenue in its entirety to identify where safety interventions are most needed. This study is estimated at $30,000 and it will be proposed in the 2026 budget. This approach ensures that future investments are evidence-based, fiscally responsible, and aligned with our strategic priorities of infrastructure renewal, community well-being, and accessibility. Thank you for your attention, and I welcome any questions.
Thank you. Counselor Ranger?
Thank you through you, Madam Mayor. It's not necessarily a question, but I found the report very informative. As somebody who doesn't understand the road safety. Options, I thought. What was presented in the report was very clear. I think it gives us some good options. I think it opened a broader scope that maybe we didn't consider. But going forward, and I live off that main vein, I'll call it. It's a high traffic area. It's got a lot of vulnerable people, particularly children, and the use of our community complex and other recreational and our works department, like it's only gonna get busier, not quieter. So I was really happy to get that report. I'm glad Rick brought it to our, Councillor Owen brought it to our attention. And I'm looking forward to seeing how we can correct these issues. Thanks.
Councillor Owen?
Yeah, through you, your worship. I'm very aware of the other issues on Allen Avenue. Because I live on Third Street between Allen Avenue and Dunfield Road. Third Street has terrible blind spot, but it has less traffic than Second Street. Fourth Street, residents on Fourth Street have talked to me about a blind spot there. But I don't see that as a reason not to put in a stop sign and make this intersection safer. You can do a study down the road and determine the overall, how the overall safety at these various intersections could be improved. But to not act now, I think, would be a mistake. I've had people that lived there historically, like when they were kids, long before I ever lived in Kirkland Lake. And they have informed me that that intersection was a problem way back then in terms of blind spots. The problem with accident reports is that they don't record near misses. And since this issue has come up, I've received concerns stated to me about town vehicles not using Dunfield Road, where there's a lot less pedestrian traffic and a lot less vehicle traffic, and instead using Allen Avenue. And I did a week-long project at my daughter's house, and I witnessed that did happen. Vehicles would come along and turn down Allen Avenue instead of going straight across to Dunfield. In the summer, it's probably not as big an issue, but what is the cost of I'm coming to a question, Steve, Durham. What is the cost of installing stop signs at that corner?
Through you, Madam Mayor, the cost would be below $1,500.
Councillor Casey Owens?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to the director, a few meetings ago, when this first got brought up, you said it was within council's purview if we wanted to put a stop sign. Council can just decide to move forward and put the stop sign in, right?
Correct.
Correct. So I've been doing some reading, and I don't like comparing us to Timmins because they're bigger and things are different, but council does pass motions regularly to put stop signs at intersections. Some of them are temporary. One recently was temporary, became permanent because it worked so well that. So we know Allen is a long street. It's traffic tends to go fast. I mean, that's a lot of kids going to the high school. We were all young ones. Every foot says. So I propose just an amendment tonight to. Let's not wait. Yes, we may put it back into the budget here to analyze the whole Allen, like what can be done, because there's several. I think there's another one coming later to relate to Allen. Let's propose as a council to try a stop sign there, implement it this year, before the start of the school year. Whatever campaign, like I don't know if that's doable before the start of the school year, but if we can put stop signs to advance warning that something, the intersection will change, and go from there, see if it does make a difference with residents.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is you're proposing an amendment to implement a stop sign at that intersection before the school year begins. Is there a seconder for that amendment? Counselor Owen? So, okay, so there's no, we need to discuss that amendment. Only the amendment on the floor may be discussed.
And a seconder was,
Counselor Rick Owen.
okay, thank you.
Okay, so now we're switching gears to discuss just the amendment on the floor, which is to amend the motion, which is to receive for information to, and yeah, Madam Clerk, just read it. Yeah, go ahead.
Through your mouth, Mayor.
Yeah.
That, recommendation be amended to include that a stop sign be placed at the intersection of Second Avenue and Allen Avenue and be implemented prior to the school year.
Any comments or questions?
Should you read that again?
To the commencement of the school year.
Sorry, Counselor Major.
Through you, Madam, can you read that again, please?
Certainly. The amendment on the floor.
Yes.
Moved by Casey Owens, Counselor Casey Owens, seconded by Counselor Rickman. That the recommendation be amended to include that a stop sign be placed at the intersection of Second Avenue and Allen Avenue. And the implementation be conducted prior to the commencement of the school year.
There must be a correction then.
Yeah.
It's a four-way where it's before, not, there's already a stop sign.
Oh,
So for, yeah.
Okay, well then,
I- I
motion
think
was first also. I thought the motion was first also.
For the stop signs. to
On Allen,
implement.
so a stop sign be added on Allen Street, so which would.
Make it a
Make it
four-way
four-way,
stop.
like I'm not,
So there's.
we're not taking one,
Okay, okay.
so I'll
At the
clarify. my
intersection of
intention.
Second Avenue and
Turn.
Allen Avenue be turned into a
A
four.
four-way, yes, that's the clarity, we'll put it that way, that's how I,
Sorry, that's how I.
yeah, I just assumed, but yeah, sometimes.
No, I heard it.
Okay, so we are, discussion at the table is about that implementation of a four-way stop on Allen as an amendment. Counselor Shabbat.
Well, I'm gonna wait till later on, I'm not speaking to that, I just want
Okay, then
clarification
there,
from the
okay.
clerk regarding this, item. Cause I'm confused, so I just want clarification regarding this item, the way it's written. It said to be received for information, so.
So through you, Madam Mayor, to Counselor Shabbat, there's an amendment that's been proposed on the floor by Counselor Casey Owen, seconded by Counselor Rick Owen. That the recommendation be amended to, that the recommendation be amended to be received for information, and that, the intersection of Second Avenue and Allen Avenue be turned into a four-way stop. And its implementation be prior to the commencement of the school year. That is the motion on the floor at present time. The amendment.
Sorry, Counselor Kylie.
through you, your worship, I support Casey's amendment. That could save us $30,000 as well as not having to do that study, quite possibly. So I do support this.
Thank you for that. Counselor Ranger.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I support the amendment. There was also in the report a recommendation that there be a warning or a heads up that there's a four-way coming.
The director may answer to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever we would install new stop signs, it comes with another set of signs that warns ahead to make sure to capture people's attention.
Great, I just wanted to ensure that, and then my other comment is I'd be happy to shelve the recommendation for an engineering in 2026. We'll be coming into a new election, and that may be something that we don't want to leave hanging as a legacy, so this, I think, would satisfy our right.
That's the body of, so
Yeah.
we'll come back to
Yeah,
that
that's
after the amendment. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm. Counselor Owen, on the amendment.
Yes,
Okay.
I support Counselor Owens. Amendment 1000%. And thank you for it.
CAO Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. As a question for the director, the costs involved, can you contain that within your current operating budget?
Your Madam Mayor to the CEO, yes, that's something we could handle through our budget.
Okay.
That. Okay, so no other comments on the amendment? We can vote on the amendment. All in favor of approving the amendment? Opposed, the amendment is carried. Now back to the body. Again, of accepting the report. Councillor Ranger, you did have a point that spoke to the broader item to be received.
Through you, Madam Mayor, just reiterate that, there's several things that are current on this agenda and possibly coming down the road that push us into 2026. And I just, think that this previously approved amendments will satisfy, that we've collected the information and shelve for now the engineering request or report.
Okay, so we're not voting on the engineering, even though it was in the report as a suggestion?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good to know. Any other? Yes, Madam Clerk.
If it's the will of council not to engage in a study at all, then it needs to bring, it would need to bring either, and I could bring them in tonight, or I could bring them in over, it comes out again in the budget.
We're not being asked to approve that.
Right, but it's going to be a part of the departmental plan.
It can, if Stefan, he might include that in the budget 2026. For consideration, council can also remove it if it so chooses. You know, I mean, this is only for consideration.
Yeah.
Stefan puts it in his budget for 2026. And if council thinks that that should not be, there can always be removed. You know, it all depends on what the director's budget is for that year. If this can't fit, so be it. If it can't, you know, all depends to council believe this is going to be a priority for 2026 when the budget is discussed and already.
Councillor Ranger.
That's my train of thought.
Yeah. Councillor Casey Owen.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I kind of agree with what, or I understand what Councillor Ranger is trying to say. If you look at the whole operation of the town currently, we've taken a step forward to remedy the situation. Let's take that $30,000 and buy some asphalt for it right off the bat, not even consider going for another report. By the time the report comes back to us, we'll be lame duck, we'll be in the elections, some people are coming back, some of us are not, so just let's move forward on to the next report. That's how I see it, and that's what I think the Councillor Ranger is trying to say, and I agree with it.
Okay, so. 1 second, Councillor Ranger.
I'd like to put forward, through you, Madam Mayor, I'd like to put forward a motion to remove. Put my glasses on me. To shelve the safety enhancements at the intersection of Second Street and Allen. As we have now satisfied what we believe to be the safety concerns on Allen at this time.
So this, do you want to shelve the safety study?
Consider.
And possible requirement of it in the 2026 budget. For that department.
And its inclusion in the 2026 budget?
Not be considered for
Not
inclusion in the
considered.
2026
Yeah.
budget.
Generated after an office.
For a moment, because now we have to address this.
And then we seconded.
Do you want a second?
Sure.
Do you want it to be read first before you second it?
I understand.
I have to read it. Yeah. Okay. Moved by Councillor Ranger, seconded by Councillor Owens. case law. That the recommendation be further amended to include, and that the safety study not be included as part of the 2026 budget.
Comments? Councillor Dykens?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I understand that adding the four-way stop may remedy some of the safety risks, and I understand next year being, election. What concerns me is there's 27 collisions on that road. I don't know if that's high, but I think it is, and within the next couple of years, the, number of cars using that road's going to raise exponentially with the number of new residents going to be in town. So, I just want to caution, I understand saving 30,000, but it's all part of, Allen Avenue and then Government Road. It seems like it's a problematic area already, and it's only going to increase in the next couple of years, so just. Yeah, I get it, next year's an election, but if we wait. Then it may be too far down the road, just to put it out there.
Yep, thank you. Councillor Kylie?
Through you, your worship, I don't see the need for the amendment. Our amendment that would be just approved basically sets aside the earlier recommendation. We're not doing 2026 budgets here. And making a commitment one way or the other on 2026. I don't see the need for it. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Councillor Shaba and then Councillor Ranger, you may speak again.
The way I see this actually, the vote we just had is, I would as simply say that no further action is required. This item. Plain and simple, so whatever that action might be, that has been contemplated, based on this, well, there, to me. So I would say no further action was required of this item, which is what they're trying to speak to, either be $30,000 for this kind of engineering design or further study or whatever, well, those should be suspended for now. Maybe in 2 years down the road, other council may look at that and say, well, listen, well, this problem didn't quite solve itself. Well, they can turn around and resuscitate this and say, well, okay, let's go out and do that. So we really need to save that $30,000, and of course. In director can that when you free, we use that time to do other stuff, the study, that's just my view. Thank you.
Councillor Ranger?
Madam Mayor, I'm trying to tie up the items that are listed in the report, including the recommendation of the 30,000 for an engineering report. Other items on the agenda also have reports and recommendations for engineering reports. There's actually 3 in this agenda alone, with comments saying that the Works Department has enough on their plate and they were wishing to defer it to 2026. So I'm trying to remove it so that it is in a on hold, in an on hold pattern for that department by having a motion to say, remove it. This council, whether we ended up in 2026 bringing it up or not, it is basically an end item based on the actions of the four-way stop sign, satisfying this council on the issues and concerns of Allen and Second Street.
Okay, just, sorry, for point of clarification, even though it was mentioned in the report, as per what's on the floor, we were not asked to make a decision on that item. As per what is on the floor, what the 3 is for information only. So we weren't asked to make a decision on those things, so I just want to clear that it wasn't a recommendation. In way of what was put to question today, so I just want a point of clarification on that. Councillor Owen, do you have a comment regarding this motion on the floor right now?
Yes, I would prefer
to be, the study to be deferred. And then it should be done when we are going to reconstruct Allen Avenue. It should be part of that process. Does that make sense? Because it didn't have to be, in my opinion, my humble opinion. Probably some, what I'll call structural changes, a hill will have to be. I believe would have to be changed to deal with some of the issues there. So I think it should be incorporated with the reconstruction of Allen Avenue, whenever that may be.
Okay, Counselor Dykens,
So this report was brought to us just to receive it. We did a motion and then so right now we're just receiving it. We're not voting no.
that was the original. Now we're discussing the motion on the floor about how to, sorry, Madam Clerk, can you read?
Yeah, just, I was looking for clarity, so.
I'm going to have the clerk reread what the motion is.
So there's a motion on the floor moved by Counselor Ranger, seconded by Counselor Casey Owens, that the recommendation be amended to include the following. And that a safety study not be included as part of the 2026 budget. So there's a motion on the floor for that. Right now, that's the discussion at this point. If it's going to be included as part of the original recommendation. I didn't meant to ask because.
Okay. Any more comments on that motion? For the item, for the investigation not to be included in the 2026 budget. That's what we're discussing at this point. Okay, all in favor? Item, opposed? Item carried.
So the amendment is carried.
The end, yeah.
So did you want me to read what the recommendation with all of the amendments? Okay. The original mover was Counselor Ranger, this original seconder was Counselor Tyler. Be it resolved that report number 2025 Public Works 03 entitled Safety Enhancements Intersection of Second Avenue and Allen Avenue be received for information. And that the intersection of Second Avenue and Allen Avenue be turned into a four-way stop. And its implementation be prior to the commencement of the school year. And finally, that a safety study not be included as part of the 2026 budget.
Okay. Any discussions now? Reverting back to as the clerk has not read it. Any discussions on that? All in favor? Opposed? Item carried. Well, as amended, yes. No, that's clear as mud there. Okay, so then we shall move to the next item. Safety enhancement five-way intersection, and it will also be presented by Director Forte. Moved by Counselor Ranger, seconded by Counselor Rick Owen.
Be it resolved that report number 2025 PW 14 entitled Safety Enhancements Five-Way Intersection be received for information.
Director, you may proceed with this, sir.
Mayor and council. This report responds to council's March 18th resolution directing administration to obtain quotations for an engineering study to assess the traffic safety improvements at the complex intersection of Taylor Avenue, Prospect Avenue, O'Meara Boulevard, and Brookbank Avenue. This intersection presents unique traffic conditions and visibility challenges that traditional control measures were not designed to manage. Blind spots have contributed to collisions and frequent near misses, raising legitimate concerns about safety at this intersection. Administration has obtained quotations from qualified engineering consultants with proposals ranging from $13,000 to $35,000. These reflect varying levels of service, from focused traffic studies to comprehensive multidisciplinary reviews, including lighting design. Given the scope and importance of this project, we recommend including a $30,000 allocation, which is something that we'll bring forward in 2026 during budget deliberations. To support a formal engineering study. This approach allows us to align with our budget priorities, ensure adequate resources planning, and maintain fiscal flexibility in our current year 2025. The study will be conducted in accordance with AOD standards, ensuring that any future design recommendations support safe and inclusive access for all road users. It's a strategic step forward, improving safety at one of our most complex intersections, and I look forward to council's continued support as we move forward with a data-driven and fiscally responsible solution.
Thank you for that. Comments or questions on this item? Councillor Owen?
Through you, your worship, this is one of the few times where I think we definitely need to have a consultant. I mean, what other town has five streets coming into one intersection? It is definitely a safety hazard for our residents. We're trying to make Kirkland Lake as welcoming as it can be. I remember when I first moved here, I blew the stop sign because I didn't see it. People were blowing their horn at me, I didn't know why. I went around the block and then I realized. And I'm sure that happens to many people that aren't familiar with our streets. But more importantly, from safety perspective, I don't believe there is a simple common sense solution to this. I think we do need the expertise. And I thank the director for going out and doing the research. And I believe this is something that we should back and include, well, have it included in the 2026 budget, but if at budget time deliberations, we may realize we have other priorities and withdraw it. But I think this is something that I can get behind 1000%. It's gotta be done before somebody's killed.
Further comments or questions? Councillor Ranger?
Thank you, your worship, for you. This is a very complex intersection. If it was easy, it would have been done already, and I'd like to see it in the 2026 budget for an engineering study.
Anything further? I do have one question myself, so. Oh, sorry, Councillor.
That's okay, it was the last minute. Thank
That's
you.
okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I remember in previous meeting, someone asked about, police reports, like for Allen Avenue, we know the number of collisions. Do we have that data for this? No, because I haven't heard of any, but that doesn't mean there wasn't, so I'm just.
Curious, okay. My question is, we have three items that are similar, surrounding traffic and needs for studies. Do you believe that it would be advantageous for council to have studies of other intersections? And will it be 30,000 each time rather than having one outfit come in and do the areas of interest all at once? Is that a clear question? That would it be more financially responsible to say we have 7 intersections of interest? Rather than go 30,000 for this intersection and then at a different time do 30,000 for this one. And next year do 30,000 for this one. In your department, are you aware of more that should be investigated so that we could do them all?
There's no other intersection right now that's coming to mind. The 5-way intersection is definitely one of interest, but if your question is more in the sense that can we combine certain studies to try to save costs, yes, that's absolutely something that we could do.
Yeah, I do a motion.
Nope,
Thank you.
but you can.
I can make it, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Acting Mayor Duggins, can you take the chair for this moment?
So I can't move this motion then?
You can if you would like to, that's,
I would.
yeah. It's more simple. We could just stand up and sit down and pretend, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
That we switch chairs. Okay, so, I would like to put a motion forward or amendment on this one forward. That the director be empowered to choose traffic issues that he would like to see investigated by a contractor, I don't know.
Okay, so that.
Yeah,
so
A
that.
study being, yeah, that administration be. Yeah, directed to,
Undertake.
thank you. Traffic study.
Analysis.
Yep,
Throughout.
the community, sorry, yeah, at the discretion of,
Traffic study of problematic perceptions to be determined by.
traffic issues.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, director, thank you. I'm pulling it out one word at a time,
Everybody's talking.
you know.
Uh,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Director Fortin.
Thank you. I'm not sure that it's necessary to make, this motion. The reason being, if there are any projects that I feel are needed, I have an operations budget where I can pick from and propose projects for budget deliberation in 2026. So just like I would be bringing, for example, this one as a $30,000 item. Well, there might be others that I'm interested in having designed, for projects on the shelf, for example. So there are projects at times that are being designed that council may or may not necessarily be aware of for operation's sake. So I feel like I have that power already, in the sense that if I feel that there's a need for safety study, if it's within my operations budget, that I'm able to have that study completed. And
Okay,
I
I
would,
do appreciate that, sorry, Madam Acting Clerk, okay, I do appreciate that, but the. What drove my desire to bring a motion forward would be to have the direction for you to do so. All encompassing
yes. Which is something.
and to be added, so that it is not that. That council would be directing you to do so. Versus. You doing it.
Thank you, Madam Clerk would like to speak first and then Councilor Shallow.
What I'm hearing. is- I don't like doing this, but I do it sometimes. That the amendment is to amend the recommendation to include and that. Administration be directed to conduct an analysis of. All problematic intersections within the community in order to obtain. A traffic study quotation for consideration by council.
Not quite, because I want it to be included in the 2026 budget. That is, this type of study
Okay,
we've
for
done
consideration
in,
by council in the
Yes.
2026 budget.
yes, so it's basically the opposite of what happened last item.
Are we good?
And
Madam
there would need a second or not.
So I need a seconder for this item.
Seconder, Councilor Major.
So now on the floor is the amendment. If you need, ask nothing, we want to reread it, if they don't go good.
See, I'm not gonna ask, I'm gonna ask you to read it, go ahead.
Now bear with me because my notes are all over the place. Okay, the amendment on the floor is moved by the mayor, seconded by Councilor Ranger to amend the recommendation to include. And the administration be directed. To. Obtain. No, to conduct. An analysis of problematic intersections within the community. In order to obtain. A traffic study quotation for consideration by council in the 2026 budget.
Okay. All right, Vlad, sorry, Councilor Shaba was first, then Councilor Ranger, and then Councilor Holm.
I think I'm gonna pass because I just have a question. for the director, and I think the answer was given, but I think everybody missed that, so I'm not speaking to this motion, I'm just gonna come back and just ask the director a question.
Okay, remind me,
Yes.
Councillor Ranger.
Through you, acting mayor to the mayor. My understanding is we are looking to do sort of a one-stop shop instead of these bit by bit chunks and having an engineering firm come in once for one thing and then another time for another. Can we have through the department, a collaboration or a list of problematic or potentially challenging intersections be reviewed by one possible engineering, like have them come once and to save us money and time and energy? Is that what you're?
Madam Mayor?
Yeah, through you, acting mayor. So yeah, that is my intention, is to empower the director to not only with this item, but any other items at his discretion, that he can include them all in that 2026 budget. We're directing him to do so. So it's the exact opposite of what we did last night. Is we're saying you have, in theory, our support to bring in a consultant to do not only this one, but the ones that you see fit in the 2026. budget. To
I'm gonna-
propose for the 2026 budget.
I'm gonna let the CEO.
Yes.
Through, Chair, I guess. Councilors be aware that, given that direction, that the director will still have to conduct. Some inquiries to see what costs would be involved with such a study, because it might be 3 intersections, it might be 10. You know, and that could go from $30,000 to $150,000. Right, so just be aware that there could be quite a cost jump, let's say. And it all depends on what the director can obtain from quotes from other consultants, so. Just be advised that that could be a hefty budgetary item going forward.
And Councillor Owen, you had your hand up earlier, do you still have something to?
No, since then, I'm sorry, through you, acting mayor, since then I had a moment of clarity and I no longer have a question.
Thank you. Anyone else have a comment? Now, is this the time that you would like to ask the director a question, Councillor Shallow, or is that outside of? what we're doing?
Well,
It's not right now.
no,
Okay, so not right now.
No, it's a whole-
Okay, so can I just ask, I think the question came because we were looking at the four-way stop on Allen, and we discovered there were issues there, and then there's another motion coming forward about the corner of Highway 66 and Allen, and then there's the five-way stop. So you're trying to see if we can have one study for at least two of them, like, so that we're not doing them individually. So,
that's not,
And no.
that's not my understanding.
Yeah.
that's the start of it. No, I'm not saying that's where we ended up, but that was kind of, because we have.
Okay, so yes, in keeping with the fact that there's 3 items tonight alone.
Yeah.
And we all receive complaints about different intersections, different sections. Main Street has been a safety issue. There's safety issues all over. Rather than piecemealing. So we get 3 tonight, and then 2 months from now, another council member. Or like the director feels the need to bring the next one and the next one and the next one. If we had a group presented at the next budget or at budget talks. This empowers the director to pool everything moving forward rather than like the piecemeal 30,000, 30,000, 30,000, 30,000.
Any other questions or comments on this particular matter?
I see.
I can maybe place a bit of a comment again. Let's say hypothetically that council's wishes for me to include three studies in the operations budget, and let's say that gets approved in my operations budget, that there's three items. I will be combining them with it, just because they're presented separately, because they were all separate motions, doesn't mean that I can't include it into one contract to have those three studies that are.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Any other questions, comments from anyone?
If you want to read it again.
Well, this is the thing. Because
sorry.
my intent is to tell the director to do this and add whatever he sees fit and present it in the budget. In the report, it says include X amount. So that's why it's an amendment, because I'm not saying not only just this one, but if you have three others in your brain, to bring those at next budget. Like, that's the direction, right?
Which
So that's why it's an amendment.
Director Fortin?
Again, for operations sake, if I do have other intersections,
Mhm.
I would be bringing them. Already within my operations budget as a suggested item. So let's say that there's three items here, they're all $30,000 each.
Mhm.
I'm assuming 90,000, but I have another one that I wanna get done. I'll add another 30,000, for example.
Mhm.
And then there's the budget, and then council has the option of accepting them all or choosing what they want.
Okay.
So, Madam Acting Mayor,
Go ahead.
so this amendment is to preemptively set a priority on traffic safety in the upcoming budget. Does that make more sense of the intent?
Sure.
Madam Acting Mayor, behind you.
Yes, the clerk would like to speak.
Okay. So the direction right now in the amendment on the floor would be for the administration to conduct an analysis of problematic intersections within the community and obtain traffic study quotation for consideration by council in the 2026 budget, which means it will be presented in that fashion, if so directed by council in that fashion. So it will not be assumed within an operating budget, it'll be having to be presented in this fashion at budget time. Does that make sense? I think that's where the mayor was going with your direction. And, oh, Charlie.
Yeah, Mr. Treasurer, would you like to speak?
You acting mayor. Practically speaking, I think I understand what's going on here. I think the director has the ability to do what you're suggesting already. It's in the operating budget, so when it's presented to you, it wouldn't be outside of that. He would certainly draw your attention to it within his operating budget. I think, practically speaking, you could, if you know of intersections that are a problem, you know, the budget process is going to take months. It could certainly become part of that budget process of discussion around what ends up on that list for the director to consider without having to, I don't know how to characterize it, you know, manipulate the budget process any more than it's already challenging to go through it. You know, it sounds to me like Stefan is already kind of prepared to do this if you feel there's things to be added to it. You know, so if there is 10 intersections that were bad, we can identify that outside of a direction from council to be included for your review at budget. It's just strictly me talking about the budget process, not necessarily the motion itself.
Councilor Ranger.
Through you, acting mayor. I think what the mayor and I are looking at is trying to save time and money when we see 30, 30, 30 for engineering studies. Can we save money by combining and having or requesting an engineering firm to come and look at multiple situations instead of them coming and going and coming and going and saving the time of any others. Put them all in the list so that we can look at them and make decisions for the effort, the request for tender to include multiple reviews of intersections. Is that?
Councilor Shabba?
Yeah, I'm gonna set aside my questions. That's beyond the motion. But I don't think the way you framed that motion is the way I understand it. Because nothing to me, nothing is stopping the director from combining all those intersections and say, well, listen, we're gonna save money by doing this tree with RFP or one engineering service. You know, we don't have to tell him to do that. I mean, he can look at that and say, well, we'll save money. So where I really get confused, and with all due respect to the mayor, is saying that we have to empower the director to come up with other intersection work now, when in fact, the director has already said that, well, for now, there are no intersection of concern to me. I mean, that's what I think will clarify with him. So he's already have that operational prerogative to, that's part of the operational review in works department to see where there are pressure points in our community. That's their job, to be looking out for that and come back to us and say, well, here it is, because, hey, we shouldn't be looking for problems where they're done. But we got a lot of intersections in this town, I'm telling you, talk to anyone, they'll tell you the reason why there's a problem. But we can never solve every one of them. So I really don't know. Again, with all due respect, I get the intention, but he already has the authority within his own department to go out and look for those things and recommend to us to fund it or not fund it. I mean, that's right. So for telling, can you look for 10 more or 20 more when in fact, there's no, I'm not speaking for you, but this is what I heard. I don't see any other intersections of concern beyond what we have here. But we say, well, you go out there and look for more, maybe there are more, I don't know. If anybody has any, they should tell them, and then you can look into it and then come back to us. So I'm not really, I don't want to assimilate, I don't get this intent of this motion.
Councilor Owens.
Through you, Madam Acting Chair, to the director did make it clear earlier that these are 3 independent reports that were presented separately with that price tag, but it doesn't mean that each or one study would be. You said it that there were 3 separate reports, but you could investigate as many intersections and the price would differ, but not necessarily $30,000 per intersection, right?
That's right.
So I kind of agree with Councilor Shabba on this one, that the report already does, it's just when you go out to RFP, you'll just put, okay, intersection A or intersection B, and whichever one you may add down the road. But it doesn't need to be specific at this time to go out and find more. He said it before, he's got the power to do it.
Yeah.
We have to go back to the amendment on the floor.
Oh, okay, I'll let the mayor speak and then we'll.
So to bring it back to the amendment. The reason we're discussing this to begin with tonight was because it was an item brought by members of council. This item, these 3 items were safety concerns brought by members of council. So a counterpoint to Councillor Shabba of not understanding why I would direct the director, or why I would not, the whole of council, to direct the director to look for more, is because we're addressing 3 safety issues brought by members of council this evening. Because it wasn't, not that it wasn't on staff's radar, because I'm sure it is, but staff has a long line of items that they need to look at every day. And so without councils to direct their focus on items such as the 3 this evening, they take care of what they need to take care of, and we put in our political views in that. So that is the intention, again, of this amendment, is to specifically give direction to the director to bring this specifically traffic issues specifically to the 2026 budget. If it is not desirous of the whole of council to approve this amendment, that is perfectly fine with me, but I did feel the need to bring the amendment onto the warrant.
Counselor Owen?
Yes. Through you, acting mayor. When I was at Canadian Tire today, an employee of Canadian Tire brought up concerns about a totally different intersection, a totally different section of town. There are more intersections, and I'd like to think that council is concerned about the safety of the community, and that it is a priority. And in theory, if you let out 3 separate contracts, it's gonna cost more than if you let out 1 contract for 3 projects, in theory. Now, I'm not saying in practice that that always happens, but I think that's the push behind, those are the 2 pushes behind the current amendment.
Anyone else have a question or comment? Okay, so we're gonna call for the vote of the amendment, but do we need it read again, just so we're clear, or we're good? Everybody's good, okay. So all those in favor of the amendment? All those against? It's defeated. Oh, I got demoted.
Thank you, acting chair.
Thank you for the battle.
Thank you, acting chair. So we will return now to the original question. Councillor Shava, you had questions regarding the motion on the floor.
Yes, I do, thank you, Madam Chair. This is a question for the director, and I believe you answered this question, but that's we're all missing. So my question to you is, aside from these 3 intersections that we're talking about tonight, Sophie indicated, how many more are of concerns to you as of today? How many more?
How many more intersections?
Intersections that have safety concerns to you?
Through you, Madam Mayor, so that's something that I put a lot of thought into because I didn't look into it. There's none on my radar currently,
Thank you.
unless it's being brought up to me.
You answered my question. Thank you.
Okay.
Anything further on the original? Okay, I am going to have Madam Clerk read the original motion again before we do the vote.
That's certainly moved by Councillor Ranger, seconded by Councillor Rick Owen. Be it resolved that the report number 2025 PW 14 entitled Safety Enhancements 5-way intersection be received for information.
All in favor? Opposed, then noted, item carried unanimous. Item number 6.4, safety enhancement intersection of Allen Avenue and Highway 66. This will again be presented by Director Stefan Forte of Public Works, moved by Councillor Rick Owen, seconded by Councillor Lad Shava.
Be it resolved that report number 2025 PW 15 entitled Safety Enhancements Intersection of Allen Avenue and Highway 66 be received for information.
You may proceed, Director.
Will be very similar as the other 2. Madam Mayor and Council. In response to Council's March 4th resolution directing administration to explore the feasibility of installing traffic signals at the intersection of Allen Avenue and Highway 66. As noted, Allen Avenue is a key access route to residential area, community complex, high school, and local sport fields. The intersection has experienced consistently high traffic volumes and frequent near misses involving vehicles, school buses, and pedestrians, particularly during left turns from Allen Avenue onto Highway 66. To support a data-driven approach, administration has obtained preliminary cost estimates from qualified engineering consultants. These range from $11,000 to about $30,000 for a comprehensive study that includes detailed traffic analysis, warrant assessments, and preliminary design work. And just a reminder that this is on the MTO corridor. Given the scope and potential impact of the project, we recommend bringing a $30,000 item for operations in 2026 budget to fund a formal engineering review. This will allow us to assess whether traffic signals are warranted, and if so, to proceed with design and implementation in a responsible and well-planned manner. Should a study confirm the need for signalization, all future design and construction will be carried out in full compliance with AODA standards to ensure accessibility and safety for all users. Take any questions?
Any questions for members of council? Councillor Owen?
It's a comment, not a question. When we receive funding to redo government road in that section, like starting at Allen, going up, we had a town engineer and I asked him if the hill had been redesigned to take away the blind spot. He said it had, but it hadn't. As someone who uses that intersection on a regular basis, a very regular basis, that blind spot on westbound cars on Government Road coming over that hill is unbelievable. You can be halfway into the intersection before you see that car coming on to you. And it is not a safe intersection. Adding to the issues at that intersection is a utility pole. The utility pole is it's on the west side of Allen Avenue, on the south side of Government Road. It's almost right at the intersection. So when you're coming off Allen Avenue, in order to see oncoming traffic, you have to pull through the pedestrian walkway and partially into the intersection in order to see what's coming and what's not. Again, a very dangerous situation. Now, people like myself and Councillor Ladd, we use that intersection on a regular basis. We know what the dangers are. But again, we're getting new people to town. We're trying to attract people. We want them to have a safe, enjoyable time. And to me, this is a no-brainer. I don't think we need a study other than to meet whatever the MTO, I'm sorry, I'm using MTO, but whatever the regulations are. I agree that it should be included in the 2026 budget. I think that is something that we need to do. It should have been done years ago, as far as I'm concerned. But nothing has changed at that intersection since the high school was built, since the sports fields were built, and since programming has increased at the complex. Nothing has been done to improve the safety of that intersection. And I think we would be negligent as a council not to recommend something. And I haven't agreed with Councillor Chavez' recommendation of the stoplight. I think that would be the most efficient way. We may find it different, maybe it's a three-way stop, but something needs to be done.
Councillor Dykens?
The Mayor White, first of all, I want to say you kind of lost me when these words like north and west and south. I'm sorry, we just but that hill is problematic, so I'm not even sure the stoplights, because if you're coming over the hill and it's winter time and there's ice and whatever, so I really believe a study, like somebody who knows what the best, most safe thing to do for us. That's just my.
Anything further from members of council? Nothing further, Councillor Owen?
Just in response, through you, your worship. A warning sign that stoplights are upcoming, I think would be a lot cheaper than a study and would serve the same purpose. So that's I'm just throwing that out. It may not be proper thing to say, but just an idea.
Anything further from members of council on this? Councillor Dykens?
Yeah, just an added note, again, the potential increased population in the next couple of years will make it even more urgent.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? None noted, item carried unanimous. Thank you, sir. Next item, proposed Indigenous unclaimed burial management policy. This will be presented by municipal clerk Jennifer Montroy, moved by Councillor Ranger, seconded by Councillor Kylie.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. Administration is seeking council's approval this evening of a proposed policy to better assist town staff in the management of indigent unclaimed burials, including service levels, standards, and public expectations, transparent and formal establishment of service thresholds, accountability concerning the town procurement regulations, and clear direction on the expected recovery efforts of those costs incurred by the municipality. Coordinating burials for indigent unclaimed deceased persons is an operational requirement under several pieces of provincial legislation. Staff have been managing with minimal formal direction for the better part of 2 decades. As noted in the report, there are a host of complexities with the management of indigent and unclaimed deceased persons and burials. The town's legal counsel has recommended that the establishment of a policy will guide administration to best manage business decisions, provide direction where the legislation is silent, and allow for the transparent and accountable management of the civic and fiscal services in those instances. In terms of the draft policy, the town has reached out to the office of the chief coroners of Ontario and circulated the draft policy to have them weigh in on whether certain elements of the policy offended any regulations or legislation from their perspective, and where it is the business decision of the corporation to make. Their offices called me less than 2 hours ago and advised me that they are reviewing the policy and they cannot provide comment at this time, but they will be providing comment in the future. And the town has also shared the draft policy with a senior representative from the Bereavement Authority of Ontario, who has noted that the BAO are currently obtaining legal advice on the provision of certain language within the regulations surrounding the cemetery operators care and maintenance fund. This policy may need to be returned for amendments should any legal opinions or direction be received by those two entities. However, for now, they are being identified as business decisions that are within the purview of the municipality for the purposes of managing indigent and unclaimed burial management, and only where we are ordered from the office of the chief coroner of Ontario, and so we'll be closing on the municipality. That is a summary of my report.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions or comments from members of council? Councillor Owens.
For you, Madam Mayor, I was on board until those last 2 sentences. Where outside agencies have come in and told us that they're gonna review what we've done. So are we pioneers in Ontario right now with this policy? Are we going above what other municipalities are doing?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Owens, we are pioneers from a municipal standpoint. There are a lot of complexities when I say that we are pioneers. We have municipalities that have had different directions and legal opinions with respect to the redirection of this service with their local DSAS. There are variations with respect to policies that in terms of the cost recovery, we would be pioneers in the sense of cost recovery. And to correct the statement about them wanting to make comments about our policy, I purposely sent the policy to those entities to weigh in on the policy. I was expecting to have a response by those entities before the presentation at council, where it was silent for several months and weeks before it came to council. Yes, we would be in a sense pioneers when it comes to the recovery. We are not pioneers in the sense of program management. The city of Temiskaming Shores has a indigent unclaimed burial policy, or they have a program. We don't have a program. We have policy for burial management.
Thank you for that. Anything further from members of council? Nothing further noted. All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 6.7, proposed amendments to council procedure bylaw. This will also be presented by the municipal clerk, Jennifer Montroy, moved by Councillor Ranger, seconded by Councillor Kylie.
Be it resolved that report number 2025-80M11 entitled Amendments to Council Procedural Bylaw be received, and that council refer the matter to committee of the whole to be held on Tuesday, August 26, 2025 at 4:40 PM.
So I'm gonna pause at this moment, because this is something that we hadn't experienced up to this point and in this term of council. So I was advised by Madam Clerk as a matter of procedure that no debate should occur when we are
There will be no presentation.
Sorry. Yeah.
No presentation.
no presentation, if it's being referred to item of committee of the whole. So in that case, exactly how would we handle this issue this evening? Madam Clerk.
True, Madam Chair. For the whole of council, so, it's ironic that it's happening for the procedural. First of all. Secondly, excuse me, the reason for, the referral and the non-discussion, it's one of those rules in Robert's Rules of Order that when a deferral is being put before a member of council, that it goes automatically to the next stage, which is the committee of the whole, where the presentation would actually occur. So if it is the will of council to do that, then it's just a calling of the vote. Otherwise, if council want to debate the referral, they're more than, they're more than happy, I'm more than happy to have that discussion with, if it needs to happen.
Okay, so what we are actually discussing in this moment is the referral to the committee of the whole. So is there any discussion at the table regarding the referral to the committee? There's no questions or comments on that? Okay, so we will proceed with the vote. All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. So that will this be our first? Or is that the other one?
It'll be our second,
Our
but
second.
our first one as a committee of the whole.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on, item number 7, considerations of notice of motions. There are none. One will be.
6:8 here. 6:8.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I got the old agenda. So 6.8 is beautification survey results. It will be summarized by Alan Smith, CAO.
Through Madam Mayor, 2 members of council, Director Clocker sends her regrets. So,
Second, moved by
sorry,
Councillor Owen, seconded by Councillor Kylie. Thank you. You may proceed.
enthusiastic.
Yeah.
So in October of 2024, council directed administration to conduct a community beautification survey and then come back to council with a summary of those results, but also to propose a review an annual beautification schedule. So the report before council, it does provide those results. And just of note, the survey, 178 participated, which is, which is quite reasonable. And they provided a number of feedback in many areas. And there's a number of priorities that were identified for the survey. For example, floral displays, also litter and cleanliness was a priority. Trails and green spaces was prominent. Seasonal decorations and also the community-led cleanups were priority. And also, the report also looks at suggested areas for beautification of the survey, which were Government Road Corridor, Duncan Avenue, Allen Avenue, Queen Elizabeth, King Rose Playgrounds, and Civic Park. The report also mentions some current beautification activities. This is outlined in the schedule, which goes through some of the undertakings in the spring, summer, and of course the fall. That's all outlined in the report. And also, the director of the report mentions the introduction of a memorial tree program. And also volunteer appreciation. And also next budget, she will be including monies for a student to undertake beautification initiatives, which I think is quite forward thinking. So that there's a summary of the report and welcome any questions. If I can't answer them, I will ask the director when she returns and get it to council. Thank you.
Questions or comments from council? Councillor Owen?
Yes, through you, your worship. I meant to mention this last council meeting and it slipped my mind. But very recently, I ran into a former resident of Kirkland Lake who was back here visiting. And the resident commented on how good the town was looking. More recently, I ran into a former resident of Kirkland Lake who's lived elsewhere for, I would say, at least 20 years. Her and her husband have now moved back to Kirkland Lake. And she made the same comment, how good the town was looking. And I think what happens with me is that we see an improvement there. We see a little thing here, we see a little thing there. But we don't see the total picture. So I don't think we appreciate the value of the beautification as much as people who have been away for a while and come back. But it was, I smiled when two people unsolicited commented on how good the town's looking, so I think we're going in the right direction.
Thank you for that. Councillor Shabba?
Yeah, to you, Madam Chair, to CEO. I'd like to see the town maybe working cooperatively in conjunction with the restaurants and businesses to encourage picking up garbage that actually coming from their establishment without naming names. Because some of us on Allen Avenue, residents and businesses, I mean, we're starting with picking up garbage from restaurants and establishments nearby. I mean, I don't know what we can do about it, but it's worth discussion with some of those restaurants and we'll listen. Hey, is there any way that it would help us? Maybe we'll have once a month, let's clean in town or something like that, but it is becoming a problem. They want an Allen Avenue because every day my staff, they pick up a lot of garbage that are coming from this restaurant, not from us. The other issue is the enforcement of abandoned homes, especially along Government Road. We have two houses on Government Road, and I'm not sure one very near the intersection of Allen and Government Road that the grass is maybe 3 or 4 feet high. I mean, Government Road is upright. People go through that to other places. So, I mean, you can maybe expect that in somewhere hidden Shabby User or Wilson or whatnot, but along Government Road, maybe the town should maybe reach out to the owners of the buildings to at least tidy that up a little bit. I'm very encouraged that, I mean, when I brought that to the attention of my next door neighbor, the parking building, I said, yeah, sure, no worries, they were there, nobody there, and they were there the next day, and they got on the screw there to tidy up the place. I'm like, hey, this is our main drag here. I know nobody's lives there anymore, but we just gotta keep it tidy, but we have others along that along that road that people don't live there anymore, but people still own it, but we have to try to keep the main drag very tidy. So maybe it's something that you the department could do, whoever's in charge of that, try to reach out to the owners of those buildings, abandoned buildings, to see if they can tidy that up anyways. Thank you.
Anything further from members of council? Nothing noted, all in favor? Opposed, item carried unanimous. Now moving on to 7, consideration of notice of motions. Again, there is none this evening. One has been deferred to the next public meeting. Item number 8, introduction, reading, and consideration of bylaws. 8.1, bylaw number 25-047, moved by Councillor Casey Owens, seconded by Councillor Janice Ranger.
Be it resolved that council hereby approve an amendment to zoning bylaw number 2132, rezone as identified for 12 Station Road South from residential low density R1 to residential high density special exception for R304, and finally that the following bylaw be read, numbered, passed, signed by the mayor and municipal clerk, and the seal of the corporation be affixed thereto. Bylaw number 2547 being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 2132 to rezone certain lands from a residential low density R1 zone to a residential high density special exception R304 zone, 12 Station Road, South Dakota.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. 8.2 bylaw number 25-048 moved by Counselor Ranger, seconded by Counselor Rick Owen.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read numbered passed, signed by the mayor municipal clerk and the seal of the corporation. Be affixed thereto, bylaw number 2548, being a bylaw authorizing the execution of an agreement with Pedersen Construction Inc. for the installation of concrete as identified at 61925 RFT.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Can somebody retrieve Counselor Shaw?
Okay, that's fine.
Do we proceed?
Yeah, we'll proceed when you hear the door.
Sorry. Item 8.3 bylaw number 25-049. Moved by Counselor Ranger, seconded by Counselor Rick Owen.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read numbered passed, signed by the mayor municipal clerk and the seal of the corporation. Be affixed thereto, bylaw number 2549, being a bylaw authorizing the execution of a contribution agreement with His Majesty the King in Right of Ontario as represented by the Minister of Transportation for the 2025-2026 Connecting Link Project, Duncan Avenue and Highway 66.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. 8.4 has been removed. Item number 9, questions from council to staff. There was none submitted prior to this meeting. Item number 10, notices of motion. None noted. Item number 11, councilors report, moved by Counselor Ranger, seconded by Counselor Casey Owens.
Be it resolved that the verbal updates from members of council be received.
Any members have any reports to give about items in the community, meetings that they've attended? Nothing noted. Just for my part, for the office of the mayor, ongoing meetings have been held with members of the community regarding the town support of arts and multicultural fair in 2026. So that's exciting for our community. On Wednesday, the 16th, members of council had the opportunity to meet and exchange flags with Mr. Aiden Kaiser, a young man who chose to join active military in the Ukraine. It is a sense of great pride to see a member of Kirkland Lakes youth making such an important contribution to world history and taking pieces of our community with them. During discussions, this young man noted that in his growing up here, a lesson he learned was Kirkland Lake does not respect nor abide bullies. And that is a lesson he's taken with him throughout his young life and into the war zone. We wish him a safe return home and honor his sense of duty to the land and to the people his family originated from. I attended the opening of yet another business in the downtown core. We are so very thankful to those members of the community that go away to get educated and come home to contribute to our business sector. Though I may not know of all the business openings, I do encourage members of the community and business sectors to share their openings with the municipality so we may mark and honor their success with a certificate. The municipality wants to celebrate with businesses and have the opportunity to celebrate their successes. I attended the birthday celebrations of a member of our community who turned 90 years old. And this is my second such appearance in 30 days. I cannot tell you the joy that it brings me to celebrate these milestones with community members. And again, just a quick reminder that the municipality will issue certificates for milestones, including birthdays and anniversaries when individuals request them. It is the clerk's office that manages those requests. And we want to celebrate with you. Finally, today, members of the senior staff and I met to discuss timelines and expectations for budget 2026. I will be attending meetings with staff similar to what former council members experienced during the 2019 budget season, so that I may have a full understanding from start to finish when the budget is presented. Since invoking the strong mayor power of presenting the budget on or before February 1st, it will be presented as the mayor's budget, meaning I will have the opportunity to give my input prior to it being presented at council. Council and members of the public will note some changes in the process of presenting. However, we are attempting to keep it as close to the previous years as possible, considering the wording surrounding the new powers. I do urge members of the public to take time to do the budget survey when it is released. If 178 people can voice their opinions about town beautification, I hope to see at least that number for input in our budget process. And that is it for mine this evening. Thank you to all members of council. All in favor? Opposed? Item carried unanimous. Item number 12, additional information. There's also none this evening. We will now take a 10-minute recess before moving into close. Okay, so we'll now reconvene to move into in-camera. Moved by Councillor Janice Ranger, seconded by Councillor Rick Owen.
Be it resolved that council adjourn in camera at 6:35 PM. Pursuant to sections 239(2) and 3.1 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended to discuss the security of the property of the municipality, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality, and to hold an education discussion for members of council for the following reasons. Item 13.1, public appointments to committees of council, various two. And item 13.2, information technology security, 3.1. So I was just trying to delineate the two different sections of the municipal act for the reasons to vote.
All in favor? Opposed? And none noted. Item carried unanimous. Oops. Now rise from in camera, moved by Councillor Shava, seconded by Councillor Ranger.
Be it resolved that council convene in open session at 7:04 PM.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Any items arising of pecuniary interest? That would be myself.
We muted? No, okay.
Okay, so I, Stacy White, am declaring deemed pecuniary interest on the agenda of the meeting dated July 22nd, 2025 in open session. Agenda item number 14.1, agenda title supplemental appointments to committees of council. It is deemed as the matter may affect my parent, my spouse, or my child. The nature of my interest is as follows. My husband has applied to be appointed to the committees of council. So thank you for that. Any other items arising? None noted. And at this time, I will ask Acting Mayor Dykens to take the chair.
Okay.
Well, I know. It's just we do, right?
So this is just the item. I will, I'll read this.
So item 14.1, supplemental appointments to committees of council, moved by Councillor Kylie, seconded by Councillor Owen. And then it will be
Be it resolved that Terrence White be appointed to the Kirkland Lake Community Standards Committee for the remainder of this term of council, and that Terrence White be appointed to the Kirkland Lake Property Standards Committee for the remainder of this term of council, and that Terrence White be appointed to the Tech Pioneer Residence Committee of Management for the remainder of this term of council, and finally that Terrence White be appointed to the Kirkland Lake Committee of Adjustment Committee, sorry, the Committee of Adjustment for the remainder of the term of council.
any comments or questions? All in favor? And unanimous.
Take care.
Carried?
Yeah.
Fine. I see. What's that?
The vote carried.
Oh, your front is in.
Everybody. Yes, everybody will. Oh, go back.
Thank you. Thank you, Acting Chair. And we will proceed with item number 15. Confirmation bylaw 15.1, bylaw number 25 50, sorry, yes. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Ranger, seconded by Councillor Casey Owens.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw in red numbered pass signed by the mayor municipal clerk and a seal of the corporation be affixed thereto. Bylaw number 2550 being a bylaw to confirm proceedings of council at its meeting held Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Adjournment moved by Councillor Dykens. Thank you, everyone.